I did find something bad, potentially bad, inside. Um, yeah, it's kind of scary. So why don't we go inside and I'll show you. But first, take a minute to appreciate the water behind me. Yeah, hoping that I get in the water soon. Hopefully this problem doesn't kill this whole project right here. So. Yeah, let's go inside and talk about what I found. Okay, sit down here so I can show you what's going on. So, this is a painted surface underneath a bunch of sand. It came off of the wall just up here that you can't see. Basically the flooring here is kind of the same stuff. You looked like down in here where my feet are. Yeah, that's where this came out of, and it's pretty thick. And then the back side of it is rusted metal. And this is the hull. So that's kind of concerning, that our hull might be totally rusted through. I mean, that's a lot of thickness. That's almost the entire thickness of the hull there, which makes me suspicious. But what I think is happening is that this is not actually the hull. I think this box here is where the center board is inside of, and the keel is right underneath it. And the keel is full of lead, and they would have had to pour the lead in there after the keel was made. So I think what's going on here is that this lighter colored area in here is the lead that they poured into the keel. And they were just sloppy when they poured it, and they ended up with extra, and it just kind of got all over in this area. And lead is soft and flexible like this. I mean, I can just almost push it down with my hand. A little bit stiff. So this is definitely metal, and it's pliable. I can push it around. So I think this is lead. Pretty sure of that, almost 100% sure of that. It's got paint on top of it. Yeah, and the chunks that they poured on top of the hull here just came up when I was shoveling the sand out of here. So I am going to do some samples, some drill samples in this area to see what the thickness of the hull is. So I'll just, drill a hole here and another one over in this area and up above up there where some flakes came off. And that'll show me the thickness of the metal, of the steel in those areas. And then we'll know for sure, how good the hull is. And I think it's okay. I think these flakes that are coming off are just lead, and lead expands a lot when it gets corroded. So yeah, so it makes sense that it would be kind of coming off in flakes because it's out here unprotected and corroding. Unfortunately, these areas here next to the center board, I want to use as our water tank. And since this lead is here, you really don't want your water sitting on top of lead. So I need to find a way to seal the lead in there so that the water never comes into contact with the lead. And that it's not going to be too difficult. I just need to find the right kind of sealant, paint, whatever. I'm pretty sure the epoxy, the West Systems epoxy that I'm going to use will be enough of a protectant to seal that in. I'll just have to put it on extra thick in here. And then added to that on top of the West Systems epoxy, because that's not safe for drinking water either, I'm going to put Jotun tank guard on top of it, which is meant for drinking water, for potable water. So yeah, metals and chemistry and paints and chemistry is a tricky thing, especially when you're trying to put drinking water next to all of it. So if you're doing this kind of work, be careful, find some experts and talk with them. I think we're okay. I don't think our hull is rotten, but hey guys, today it's going to be a little bit noisy. I got Derek over here, he's working on his boat, he's got the generator going, but I'm going to try and remove a sheave. It's a little pulley from the inside of the mast, so I got to drill that out. So let's just go over and get started. Well, sandblasting on the inside is not done and sandblasting on the outside is not done, but I decided that I can get a head start on some things by cutting out a couple of rusty spots that I know need to go. The rumble that you hear is my generator running upstairs. It's actually very quiet, but being on the ship and the ship is shaking and empty, it makes it sound a lot noisier than it is. So what I'm gonna cut away here are these two pipes, right? So these used to be the output for the toilet, the head, and for the sink in the kitchen, the galley. All these ship terms that one day I'll use them all, but for you guys, I like to keep it simple. So I'm going to use this angry spinning wheel of death known as an angle grinder, and I'm just going to zip it off at the rib here to start with. And over here on this side of the rib, there's a little hole. When I was digging with my little shovel to get the sand out, I noticed that I poked a hole through the metal there because it was rusty. So I'm going to cut a little bit on this side as well, and then I'll cut across the top, and then we'll go outside and I'll cut the verticals on the outside. So it's going to be noisy, so for you guys I'm going to turn the volume down, but for me I need some hearing protection. So here we go. get a sponge and sponge that out. Worked pretty well. As you're cutting, your cutting discs, even this one is used, but your cutting discs are getting worn away by the metal as much as the metal's getting worn away by the cutting disc. Well, hopefully the cutting disc wins more than the metal, but at any rate, you have to replace them pretty regularly. For the inside, it's hard to get in there because the pipes are in the way and this rim is in the way. So we've got marks here anyway where I want to cut. So from the outside, I should be able to see what I'm doing to cut those. So let's go outside. Okay, back in business. Brought my pry bar and my hammer down. Well, I'm gonna
go inside and give it a hammer from the inside, and then I'll come out and pry from the outside. So, keep watching. That's a nice chunk. These are super cheap Harbor Freight discs that I paid $1 each for, so that's why they're wearing out pretty fast. That's the infamous pipe from Mr. Stinky that sprayed both Lee and I. Yeah. No more of that. Okay. just gotta get this guy out of here. There's a rib right here, which is why this won't come loose. And this joint is not fully cut. So a little more cutting there and we'll be done.
Alright, so this is the spot where the flake came off of, which I think was lead. I'm pretty sure it's lead from the molten pour that they did into the keel. Also, it's so quiet in here. You can hear Derek's generator from way over there at his shed. I'm so glad I got a very quiet generator to work with. Alright, so I'm going to drill this, and I've got a little pool of water over here, so if you see me dipping the drill over there, it's just to cool off the drill bit. Let's do right in the middle. Why not? Helps if you put your drill on drill and not on screw. Okay, so I left the piece of metal up here on deck. So let me grab that really quick. This is our comparison. So I want the metal in the hull to be let me see if I can focus this. Let me get rid of my gloves though, so I'm not dirtying up the camera here. Alright, so the drill bit has this little tiny nub at the top. That's a little bit less than the thickness of the hull, what it should be. It's kind of hard to see because it's got a pointy tip, but we want like close to a 1/4 inch thick. So I'm gonna see. Yeah, so we've got more metal in that hole. There's more metal in the hole than there is the height of this tip. So we are passing our test. We do not have a hull that is rusting away into nothing, thank goodness. Well, I mean, yes, there are parts of the hull that are rusting away into nothing, but not this part of the hull. Not a giant section of the hull. So, yeah, it sucks that I drilled a hole in the hull, another hole that I'll have to weld up, but, you know, welding doesn't take that long, especially a small hole like this. It will be less than 5 minutes to do this, and there are tons of holes in the deck that need to be filled from different fittings and hardware and, you know, just kind of silly things that were done that didn't need to be done, you know. But people change their mind with what they want on their boat, and so they add something new, and they don't take the old thing off because, you know, who wants to undo their interior and weld up a hole in the boat? So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to figure out what hardware I want, and hopefully I get it right the first time, and yeah, we won't have a bunch of holes in the boat. So this is kind of a short episode, but you know, I mean, I'm actually not at the boat right now. I'm back in San Francisco, and I'm doing every other week here at the boat, if you haven't noticed. So yeah, this is kind of what I've got to work with for you for this episode. I hope you found it kind of interesting. You can see where things are going though, I hope. Next time I'll probably get the grinder out and I can show you what the cutouts we did look like from the inside. There we go. Yeah, there's our cutouts from the inside. It's those light areas there. Yeah, so next time we'll get the grinder out and grind back that metal and maybe have a crack at welding in the new plates in there. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. If I don't put new plates in there, the issue that I'll have is when I sandblast the exterior, you're gonna have a ton of water and sand that comes in. And it may be that while I'm sandblasting outside, Lee could be painting inside. So I think I'll try and plug up those holes as best I can before I have to sandblast everything. So we'll see. I really shouldn't be doing any cutting or grinding on the hull because it's sending paint chips and stuff flying, but it's such a small amount that in the scheme of things it doesn't really matter. So I'll keep things as contained as I can and clean up after myself nice, and I think we can get away with this without doing any damage. So hope you like this episode, and see you next week-ish for some shed building and maybe pulling out the engine. Probably get to that, yeah. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll pull out the center board as well. So that'll be a big episode. So see you next week.